it's just surprising that he's not being played here for GEEK Fam. Now playing on the second pick.
Is it though?
Ooh.
Is it surprising with how much improvement we see from Marky in that gold lane? That's the ultimate question. And the other question is, now that both of these teams have opted to swap sides for game number 3, what differences are we expecting here? ONIC go for a Boxy and an Angela. Do we finally see a change with the Rafaela situation going on?
Yeah, maybe. I think they want to prioritize the Matilda. So yeah, I think they will, as expected. What's going to happen here is they are going to ban the Valentina. GEEK Fam will be tempted into not banning the Fanny, right? So what's going to happen is they will ban out something like Matilda this time. Now ONIC will be picking up something like Rafaela the first, and then last pick on the third slot, maybe pick up something like Fanny to cancel GEEK Fam.
I would say ONIC, ever since their previous meeting with GEEK Fam, they're really dictating the draft based on the bans. Even for this one, okay, now their first pick, they're betting out the Valentina. Before this, we see that the GEEK Fam and ONIC can go toe-to-toe whenever the Boxia as well as the Faramis is open. Now it almost seems like ONIC is saying, you guys can get the Faramis. We don't mind that. We already have a different idea for it.
I think if we talk about the jungle pick as well, by the way, we saw that ONIC against, in the previous series, they were struggling with crowd control initially when they had the Akai as well, but then they swapped to the Fredrin and have a bit more of a rapid fire crowd control tool as well. So I think that could be something that could be explored here for the side of GEEK Fam.
I think this is a mistake. Because what happens is, if you ban the Cloud, yeah, Matilda is going to be the first pick for ONIC. And this is great. Keyboy is so good at it. And GEEK Fam will be tempted into getting the Rafaela this time. And then the Fanny is still open. Rafaela +1 always struggles against the Fanny. And then you also have Fanny plus the Matilda.
But the thing is, if you don't pick up the Rafaela,
Rafa plus Matilda is so strong.
Yeah. That's why I say
nasty.
That's why I say they're dictating it based on the bans.
But what if, would GEEK Fam, is there a possibility, a shot in the dark, that they go for the Fanny here? Absolutely not. They completely leave that entire thing open. They go for the Faramis and the Fredrin instead. So no Rafaela, no Irithel, none of that whatsoever. They go for a power pick for a boy, the Faramis and the Fredrin. Now, what else does this signify, these two picks?
It signifies a lot of all-ins, a very sustainable kind of playstyle. The Fredrin has already tons of regen. You add the Netherrealm on top of it. If you can get a solid backline carry here in the hands of Marky, this is the strategy that they use to really pressure ONIC back when they met the first time. But against Lilia, it's an age-old counter for the Faramis when everyone's clumping together. And with the current state of the Lilia, where at 5 stacks, you keep regenning that dark energy, that's a lot of damage if he's left unchecked. And it's Gila Sans on that hero.
It's a signature pick. And it's also not just good against the Faramis, but also against this Fredrin. You can put him in the choke points, you can kite him back. They have to go for the Rafaela. At this point, I think that Lilia pick basically forced them to do that. They need an answer to these choke points, getting the Fredrin to a place of comfort.
Yeah, traditionally we know that the Lilia is great versus the Faramis, but you have to remember that there's additional movement speed now on the Netherrealm, quote-unquote, and also because of the Rafaela, being with the slow immunity that we have in the first few seconds, now it makes sense versus the Lilia. So I think this is a pretty even draft at the start, but there's a lot of serious damage issues that GEEK Fam needs to solve now. Their marksman needs to be active in all stages of the game.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if the marksman can follow the tempo, meaning like even without items, you can kind of do something in the game, it's going to be looking pretty good. Because looking at the draft here, ONIC, they're not changing their strategy. They're changing the draft, but not the strategy. They still want to control the riverside. And I kind of feel like this is what makes GEEK Fam go a little bit off tempo. They're like, wait, now what do we do?
I think another thing that is a common thread between the three games, as you mentioned earlier, aside from that fact, is they've been able to shut down Luke. We saw it on the Paquito. It wasn't as effective in game number 1. It wasn't as effective in game number 2. Why? How was Luke such a huge factor in most of the games they play is when he's given heroes that maybe in this certain case requires crowd control. With the Lapu Lapu takeaway, and I'm thinking that Charizla might be taken away as well, even the Yuzong sometimes doesn't fit into the dynamic of the composition. That's the issue that I feel is quite lurking for GEEK.
We've seen him use the Khalid to the same effect as well. But you guys were talking about forcing Beloyski onto the Rafaela by having so many slows. The last time we saw Beloyski go on a support in the final game against ONIC, that's where the Assassin came out and it completely shut down Beloyski when he's not on those durable picks. That could be something that ONIC is just scheming for right here.
I'll go back to Eterna's question
Let's go.
for Luke. I actually honestly have to say it's not the heroes, it's the player. He's up against Boots. Boots is known to be able to neutralize any XP laner. He neutralized Edward, neutralized Sanford. It was a bit tougher on Edward, but now we're basically seeing that. He's getting neutralized in the lane itself. Luke is always so active on the map, but when you lose that lane, when you get shoved in, when you have just more pressure on Boots, he's able to dictate the game. Luke is getting ordered around by Boots.
I want to know if there's a difference in his impact on the Terizla now. We finally get to see him on a different hero.
Yep. Which means that the answer should be Edith or Export coming out from ONIC. And then they'll finish up this time with a hero that can counter, that can supplement a lot of damage between it. Like Ixia, for example. I'm thinking like this might be the hero, especially... Okay, well, there it is.
The Wolf special. It should be the X-Borg too, by the way. Like the X-Borg. Oh, whoa.
Okay.
Finally, you get something wrong. I was really convinced by the X-Borg pick, but
Yep.
they go for something quite different here. The Paquito, this is a signature pick back in Season 8, Season 9, Season 10. For Boots, he was even called the Heavenly Fist because of how good his Paquito is.
Yep. Okay, Bruno, standard pickup. Because what you do is to have the Rafaela combo with it. This is gonna be close. I think that both teams at this time it's not really one-sided on the side of ONIC. I still think that ONIC will take it just because of the fact that they went in for the Paquito instead of the Export. Because if they followed what I think, maybe they'll lose because I'm not smart enough. But if they did change it up with the Paquito, I think it's better.
Honestly, I would say the Paquito is to add a different dimension towards their fight because look at their composition. Besides the Matilda, there's no one diving to the backside, and they have the last pick coming up. So I feel like the Paquito is two-dimensional. Sure, you can join the fight, but you can flank as well. So it makes it so that the drafting phase, they're not going to get punished.
The final statements coming in from Wolf as well as Lafell, ladies and gentlemen, as we're heading to what appears could possibly be match point. In this best of 7, 3 points is all you need, and if GEEK fam can't win this one, then it's GG. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, will GEEK fam be able to turn it around with the Sky Kings already leading with a 2-0 as we enter the Land of Dawn? Let's go.
It's time here to see whether GEEK fam can be tested mentally. They did it before against RRQ, reverse sweep. Can they do it again?
I'm curious to see how will ONIC use this Akai. We've seen that sometimes it's always the same way for the neutral objective contest, but at times it's also for the pickoffs before then, especially with so many targets available to them here and a very easy in and out due to the guiding wind. ONIC can use it in a more aggressive fashion.
Let's see if they do as we take a look at their emblem choices here by Dunya Games. Anything in particular that stands out?
Well, both supports are going to go for the Wilderness Blessing and the Agility. They want to be all across the map. I think the shielding to everyone at the same time from the Matilda is going to really be a bit value, especially in the earlier stages of the game when the items really isn't as developed for both supports.
With the Lilia being their choice here for the side of ONIC for Suns, with heavy wave clear, it will facilitate them to go in for these early ganks to the side lanes and even to set up for these neutral objectives. As you can see here already, it being cleared, and now Kyrie has a lot more space to go in.
And you can see the pressure, once again, that we kind of spoke about in the drafts. GEEK are now putting more pressure onto Luke, getting him ahead and getting him off of the clutches of Boots.
But turns out Nile is the one picking up the gold buff though. Bit of a win for the rookie. But I think the big difference you're going to see initially is going to be in that first turtle. Already both junglers coming at it. Will ONIC try and go for something else, or going to try and shut down Nile against the turtle bit and then try and get something a bit more guaranteed? Because in the early game, that Lilia damage is something that GEEK fam has to take into consideration as well.
Luke is in position. It's going to be Nile jumping in with penalty zone. It's Boots helping out in the back line, and it's going to be Kyrie who wins it with a heavy spin. This is what we expect on the Akai. Nile pinned down. And first blood over to ONIC. Luke getting the holy healing to disengage, but Keyboy wants more. Diving deep, the Stampede brings him back for a bit, but it's just ONIC who takes a big W and walks out. Oh, Sans almost getting another cheeky little kill.
It's such a statement from ONIC here. They completely turned the jungle around now Kyrie is on the Akai, and I think coming to this matchup as a whole, ONIC and GEEK fam, a lot of highlights between who is the better jungler. Sure, Kyrie is still number one, but a lot of people have said that Niall is a close second. He's a budding, a junior Kyrie in a way. And this statement coming in from Kyrie is huge, just really pushing Niall down and testing his confidence, his level of confidence that we've seen him portray throughout the playoffs.
Well, the performance of Niall is how far GEEK has come in this playoffs is in no small part due to the success of Niall and the crazy moments he's been able to find, even against the more well-known junglers, the more experienced junglers as well. So here, if he can really get going, if he can get some kills and such a snowball, I think he can definitely still bring the fight to ONIC.
Holy Baptism connecting onto one member only. Beloy forced to run away all the way under the tier 1 and then towards the purple buff. That's the off-angle attack of Boots, and Niall has already used the Retribution to try to finally fend Boots away. Get away, but in the bottom lane the same thing happens, but onto the gold laner now with a pin down. That's a good Nether Realm from a boy, but he did commit a flicker for it. That's a big resource, a big ultimate. Same goes for that heavy spin though.
And in the previous game, we saw that the macro play, the split push was what GEEK was using. Now it's no longer available. They're going to be very reliant on going for these team fights, but with the gold lane pressured so much by the roaming, it's going to be a lot more difficult to do so in the mid game when the items start rolling in.
What did you guys say earlier on with Rafaela? In the gold lane, whoever is with Rafaela usually wins lane.
Yeah, but they have a Matilda, right?
Exactly.
That's where the neutralization is. And now they go in as a penalty zone. Aggressive one onto Luke. They know he has no heavy spin. Boots is helping him out, but a boy now with the Ghost Bursters picks up the kill. It's the Panda dying, but ONIC have delayed the turtle take. Now it's Keyboy with a good circling eagle to try to delay it even further. It seems like ONIC might have to give it away this time round. Niall has that Retribution, but a boy is bringing Boots back. They're still trying to delay it. Keyboy is rotating again. Niall should get it for free unless Keyboy, nope, cannot make a play there. ONIC will instead look for pressure elsewhere.
And the punish occurs here in the 5th minute of the game, with Kyrie taken out right before the turtle take even have begun. It was GEEK fam being able to win it out, but ONIC very quick to look for another thing on the board. They look for compensation and take away that turret in the bottom side.
And the intelligence that circling eagle gives you is just, again, so underrated. We've mentioned it multiple times, but with Keyboy popping it, you just see so much more intelligence, and that means that ONIC can move in a more educated fashion. On top of that, by the way, it was interesting in the earlier fight because Sans wasn't even passing towards the turtle at all. And now he's getting caught out.
Sans forced to use that sprint. He already used the black shoes. Oh, he dodges away from the taunt, and now it's a circling eagle. Knocking Niall up. Boots, knockout strike to try to lock him down. That's enough damage. Says ONIC, we'll go back and look for scraps. Niall on the other side. Oh, Harry with a dash forward, very aggressive, trying to zone them away. It looks like they want to mount up a siege in the mid lane. Those are some big glooms coming at it, forcing out another realm as Kyrie gets stunned up, but he's still able to walk away. Luke, penalty zone, but it's only on to Chewe, who should be able to get out with a guiding win very easily.
Wow, all right. That was nearly such a different, entirely weighted outcome. But did you see what Boots was able to do? He was able to distract 2 members from the side of GEEK fam from even entering that team fight. And so ONIC, they were confident enough to be able to go for it. And this is Boots in the early game that you can't really consider has that much impact, really depending on the items that he's about to go for. But in that late stage, I expect this to be very brutal for GEEK fam.
And it is. Look at how much damage they're putting onto Luke with no full barrage, just a circling eagle to knock him up, and CW using those basic attacks.
And that point on Boots is having so much impact, so much crowd control, it's a very good one. Because I was talking about the difference between the Fredrin and the Akai, and the Fredrin has a lot more crowd control. He can spam out. Well, in this game, you can see that Boots isn't targeting the backline. He's just crowd controlling the frontliners, trying to be a big nuisance for his team. It's a completely different approach, and I think GEEK fam are just either not recognizing it or just not used to this playstyle.
We saw a team fight domination in game 1. We saw a pick-off sorta domination in game 2, and now we're just seeing an objective domination from ONIC. They're trying to win on all fronts against GEEK fam. Even Kyrie there, look at him, standing menacingly. He was just there. And that presence alone is going to force Luke to say, all right, you know what? Sure, I'll back away.
Exactly, that's the entire theme. The zoning potential coming in from ONIC, and GEEK fam understand it. because when they go forward, this is what they get.
When they go forward, a Panda forces them backwards. Niall brought back entirely to the team, and no amount of healing, no amount of resources will be able to get you out of a team like this, who is 2,000 gold ahead. That's a knock-up onto Luke. Meanwhile, Boots in a 2v1, no problem, just goes at it. Still has a shielding Kibo with the guiding win as well, and a circling eagle. And even a full barrage, max range, forces it into the realm. Gets brought back by that circling eagle, that guiding win. Luke now caught in the midst, jumped in for the penalty zone right now, and it's actually a turnaround, a good one by Luke. Flickers out to safety, and GEEK Fam have finally gotten a good win in their hands. Kyrie able to jump back a boy with a stampede, brings Sans back all the way to the back. Sans dodging away, but it is all for naught. GEEK Fam gets the first win in the series.
This is the moment that we've been waiting for. This is what the community all around the world has been waiting for. A 3-4-0 trade in favor of GEEK Fam as they retake the game. They get a little bit more space. They take away the purple buff away from Kyrie. Niall able to take it. Is Keyboy going a little too heavy? Still able to get out. Doesn't commit onto that. But 8 minutes in, 9 minutes in, this is what we want to see.
That's the GEEK Fam require, but also ONIC just being uncharacteristically greedy for that kill there, just going in and bringing CW all the way to the front line against a team with so much damage but with shorter range. It's a bit of a similar matchup we've seen GEEK Fam and ONIC in before, but if the ONIC wants to get success, they have to be a bit more careful. There's a lot of ways that GEEK Fam can punish, and we're seeing it in the previous fight.
Penalty zone locked on to the baptism as well, comboed in together, but the guiding win gets him out. Now ONIC mounting up a re-engage. GEEK Fam have an advantage in numbers up top. Turns out ONIC are just trying to bait, trying to feint, to give the bottom side a bit more of an advantage. It's Kyrie and CW on the Lord. Niall with a Brazer's Wrath, Kyrie with a heavy spin. No, he doesn't even use it. Now he decides to do it, and it's a pin Niall down. The Nether Realm grants him a bit more HP. CW dealing quite a good amount of damage. Boots clearing out this mid wave, and ONIC just win out in the trade. GEEK Fam, though, will not leave it to that. Sans has the black shoes, pops it. Luke now going to be knocked up. Luke, in the midst of it all, still using the hammers to get that sustain. The holy healing with the flask of the Oasis gets him out. Keyboy, that's a circling eagle. Caw-caw, as Leo would say.
Shout out, Leo.
Shout out, Leo.
We miss you. But back to that point, was that too early of an Appraisal's Wrath, Arashi?
I think he was just desperate to go for it, because the fact is he's alone against two members, and CW on a marksman has essentially unlimited damage output. That's the benefit of a marksman, right? Can keep hitting, keep doing damage, and now just wants to reseal the deal, take the Lord, and Kyrie just very calmly doesn't even use the heavy spin and just goes for it. Now in the bot side though, more aggression from ONIC.
Luke's all alone, penalty zone onto Sans. He still has the black shoes, gets out as quickly as Luke was able to engage. Now he flickers out. Kyrie's looking for the play, heavy spin, pinning Beloyski down, but he gets knocked back just a bit. That displacement saved Beloy. They're looking for this bottom side, but GEEK Fam has managed it enough.
All right, let's reel it in a little bit. At this point of the game, 11 minutes in, we might not be able to, as Keyboy goes in again.
Ooh, two knockups onto Niall. Appraiser's Wrath not connecting. Now it's Boots with another knockup. Make it 4. Niall in the midst of it all, the full barrage. Brrr, from CW. Takes 2 down. And a boy is left alone to flicker back to the base.
That's a dangerous situation to be in, using all your engage, but having nothing to cancel CW on that full barrage. ONIC was able to just force that fight due to the abundance of resources they have, and Sans is just so risky with this Lilia, abusing the black shoes, his signature playstyle we haven't seen in a long time, but it shows that the rust really isn't evident in his playstyle.
Definitely not. I'm surprised. Wait, are we surprised at this point? It's hard to tell.
It's just Sans things.
It sounds things, you're right. 4,000 gold lead now for ONIC. Keyboy.
It's Keyboy things as well.
See, and he doesn't even get taken down for those kind of plays. He's just flexing at this point.
So unfair. But now,
Monster.
if you look at the situation though, GEEK Fam, Marky has been farming and he hasn't been taken down. So technically he can kind of be the difference maker, but it depends on how the fight begins, right? There's a lot of ways for ONIC to zone him out. So Donna's shoes on the other foot. If he wants to try and stay in the Nether Realm, then GEEK Fam needs to play around him. And I think it's a bit difficult because ONIC are the ones that can dictate the movements, dictate the crowd control. And Kyrie, compared to Niall, I must say, is so much better at setting up the heavy spin. But whoa!
What was that? Black shoes? No way he survives this. The photo? Sans gets out! It's Keyboy! with the guiding wind to save him. My goodness. Even with the blunder, it's not enough to take one of ONIC members down, but they do have an advantage now, an advantage they seek to utilize here. They're blitzing the Lord. Kyrie is the hope right now for ONIC to secure this game. It's going to be the circling eagle. Good penalty zone as well. Niall finds the combo, but Kyrie finds a two-man as a full barrage from CW into the guiding wind of Keyboy. GEEK Fam find the Lord, but they lose out on a massive team fight.
They lose Beloyski, they lose Niall, and they going for more!
Under the base turret. The turrets are non-existent. Keyboy, guiding win. He finally dies. That's what you deserve for doing all these blasphemic things.
But he has taken out Marky. No one's clearing the waves. A boy forced to flick around. One base turret down. ONIC, they're ignoring the Lord. They take all the base turrets down.
Without the Lord, without minions, they just get it. They poke it down. And who's it worth for? Do I even need to ask? That's 4. Make it 6 for the base turrets as well, and Kyrie gets the orange buff.
Take a look at the instant replay right there. A great penalty zone stuns Kyrie up. It's a great set from GEEK Fam, but afterwards, 2 men pinned down and a full barrage, completely uninterrupted.
Jeez.
And in our own games, Mirko, we question if this is possible. Full barrage into the guiding wind. Well, now we have a very definite answer. That is deadly.
Why
That is
isn't it possible?
disgusting, right? Because the one thing that Ixia lacks is that range, is that movement, but with the guiding wind being able to pull him in and out within that ultimate, that's like the perfect setup coming in from ONIC, the perfect solution to Ixia's immobility when she goes in for her ultimate.
Oh, weird flank from Boots right there. Could have been possible, but the Ixia, CW is farming away, so it doesn't seem like this is a fight that they want to have. Now, though, says otherwise, but they won't have enough damage. Not enough crowd control to hold down the Raging Panda.
The Dragon Warrior. What do they do? Well, right now, they're trying to poke Kyrie. That's what they're trying to do. Kyrie jumps in. Heavy spin, bringing Marky onto Boots. Now he's going to the back. Marky taking low. That's the photo. And the Netherrealm baited out. Meanwhile, Luke in the front. It's still going to be Boots surviving and getting out. The crowd roars as Boots gets out with the guiding win. Now the Appraiser's wrap out to Kyrie. That's the Panda down, but CW is free hitting in the back. The guiding win as well. Luke in the midst of it all, but it's CW and Sans who comes out on top. 1 down for ONIC earlier. ONIC make it 2 down for GEEK Fam, make it 3. Niall almost caught.
Is Keyboy? No way, right? No way did they go for this. He's just posturing, all right, he's doing Keyboy things, but in the grand scheme of things, that was a huge win coming in from ONIC. And how did it end up like that? Because technically Luke was doing everything right.
Yeah.
His job is penalty zoning CW in the back line. He was able to do that. Why was there no damage? Where was the follow-up?
Okay, I think the question is the follow-up on who? The fight was so sporadic at every single direction due to the guiding wind, and CW is the main carry here. And in that fight, he was relatively untouched. GEEK Fam were kind of baited by the
Penalty
low
zone
HP
onto
board.
CW, Arashi. Yet he still survived.
Exactly, because alone, the Terizla can't really do all that, especially with Keyboy just escorting CW. So GEEK Fam needs to find someone else to join the fray with him. Like earlier, when a boy was able to get his hands on CW, he does get taken out. We take a look at the items here though. Sans is doing a lot more burst heavy damage. I thought he was going to go for a glowing one considering the tankiness, but no, Beloyski.
Godlike.
What?
CW is godlike. CW gets brought back in front of 2 frontliners, and all GEEK Fam think of doing is we need to recall. That's when you know you have a lead. That's when you know you've gone to their minds. The marksman was right in front of you, and they couldn't do a thing.
It's just a big, massive mind game, man, at this point. If they want to go on that without the intelligence, without the vision, they're worried that if they jump on CW, it's going to be a counter engage instead.
Exactly.
With the items built up here, a boy tries to make a play, but Sans, look at him! He's walking in the front lines.
And now it's Keyboy flying in the front lines, getting back to safety, and that's all 3. Base turrets down. 17 minutes, 7,000 gold lead. ONIC are mounting up to a siege. Might be the final one to secure match point.
And this is not what we expected from GEEK Fam at all. How? And it's insane because every single member of ONIC, they can play several different playstyles, and we see that come through here.
Circling Eagle onto 4, knocking 4 up right now as that's even Niall in the front. given the nether realm. Luke jumps in with the penalty zone, on the 3, but CW positions himself. He has a full barrage, Poloyski jumps in, but CW gets the healing, gets out! CW and Keyboy get him to safety. CW gets the shield, he gets the guiding win. A kited battle. It's only Sans who was taken out. GEEK fam are able to fend off, but ONIC are able to back off.
Oof, man, back and forth, but there you go. A boy barreling in together with Luke. That is what they needed to shut CW down in the middle of the fight. Unfortunately, they were unable to take him out due to the guiding win, and that was their big opportunity. Now with that precedent, ONIC will be placing Keyboy a bit further away from CW for the next fight. It's a bit of a victory, but what can GEEK fam find with it? They're trying to get more fights, they're trying to get more catches, but ONIC just isn't giving them anything to work with.
At all! They're taking everything away, and to make it all worse, Boots is playing the macro game as well. He's setting it up, he's giving space for his team, he's buying time. With 61 seconds left for the Lord to spawn next, do you even think that ONIC require it? Do you think they're gonna go for it here?
I think they can if they want to. At this point, it's an open book. They have all the tools available to do whichever they want. A big team fight, a split push. There's so many options available to them, and that's just so confusing. Can't imagine being on the receiving end. Because even earlier, we expect Boots to maybe go a bit more aggressively, shut down a boy or Marky. But no, he just goes back and crowd controls Luke in order to just get that much more survivability for CW.
And now, GEEK fam are actually getting to that power spike. The power spike they've been waiting for. The power spike we've been waiting for. Marky is online. He's gotten his final item, that Windtalker, to sell the boots for. Is this going to be enough to leave a dent on ONIC's frontliners?
It's all going to rely on how GEEK fam are able to catch ONIC, right? If they can make ONIC commit to a fight, then Marky can output that damage. But otherwise, the kite back I think is just going to be too difficult to deal with. And keep in mind, there's that macro threat as well from Boots. So it's on ONIC to really fumble the ball here and give GEEK fam that perfect fight where a boy can output all the damage, can maybe get taken out and come back with the passive of the Faramis.
Execution, timing, determination is going to be very important here. And ONIC are looking to zone out GEEK fam at this point. They need to make things scrappy for ONIC. They need to deny this front-to-back composition they have. They need to be able to threaten CW in the back line.
That's a circling eagle. On to Beloyski. Kyrie is in the midst right now. Luke has a penalty zone. Will Kyrie pop in heavy spin? He will. And Nile gets zoned away. It's going to be who secures it? Kyrie! As Luke is isolated once again, melted down. That's a penalty zone, used defensively to the back. What is a full barrage?
Oh!
From Chewe to flicker forward, and a guiding win. Chasing back, GEEK fam trying to run away. Nile with a 3-man taunt. Nile with some damage. Nile knocked up. Kyrie 1 HP. Will it be able to get the kill? No, it's Chewe! Once again, Boots walks forward. One member left standing. The Appraiser's Wrath gets one, but Chewe has been left untouched.
Keyboy, the only casualty in that long-drawn fight. ONIC!
Whoa.
Lusans, however, can they push for the end?
I don't think it's enough. I don't think a boy can defend this all alone. He buys the immortality. He tries to delay the inevitable. And ONIC are the inevitable. A full barrage right in the face of a boy. ONIC, the Sky Kings, as dominant as ever. It's match point.
GEEK fam are down to the wire in this full best-of-7 series. Everything pinned against them. This is no longer a best-of-5. This is no longer a 2-0. GEEK fam will have to pull a miracle. They will have to pull a 4-0 consecutive game win if they still want to take this grand finals.
Oof. So now we know the true meaning of what CW is. Not Calvin Winata, not Tewe as in girl in Indonesian, but consistently winning Wolf. You're right.
Oh, that's just how it is. But no, kidding aside, I think this is on this ONIC form. Man, I think that they might have been smurfing the first few days of MPL playoffs.
I gotta say CW as well as K-Boy played exceptionally well. And honestly, in the early stages of the game, even Eterna as Arashi as well as Mirko, shouldn't the one with the Rafaela win the laning phase? But how can you win when the Rafaela is not there? Because I've been watching that gold lane for a very long time. The Rafaela didn't go there. And the 1v1, CW won every single time.
There's no way around
The
it.
Bruno had to stay inside the turret. So it's kind of like you have a way to win, but you're not playing that way to win. He's just moving around the mid. So it's kind of like you got a draft to do it, but you're not doing it.
You want to know why? Even with the Rafaela down there, the Ixia wins. The Ixia will win the sustained battle.